Hello, I'm Duane Redford from the Fly Fishers Playbook. I want to take a little bit of time today to talk about how to land a fish, how to fight and land a fish. As a guide, half my job is getting people on fish, getting hookups. The other half is trying to help them get the fish in the bag. Not always an easy thing to do, especially during the heat of the battle. It's kind of like looking over somebody's shoulder while they're playing a video game they've never played before and trying to explain to them how to do it. So it's one of those things, the more and more you do it, the better you'll get. There are a few principles, though, that we need to talk about. The first principle is your fly rod. You're going to use the same physics on the fly rod to land a fish that you use when you cast. Now, that may not make a lot of sense, but the length of this fly rod, this is a Class 3 lever. So what I'm looking to do is absorb all that fish's energy within this lever. And the lever actually starts at my elbow. So from my elbow to the end of that fly rod is about 10.5 feet. I want to use that entire length to help me land fish. When you do hook up, there are some stages that you need to follow, some stages that you need to go through. First stage is obviously the hookup. When you hook up on a fish, get a good, nice, solid set and get that fly rod tip up as quickly as possible. Now, I don't advocate trying to fight a fish like this the entire time. I'm talking about getting the fly rod up at a direct angle, the opposite angle of the fish, because I want constant fluid tension on this fish. So on the hookup, I want to get that fly rod straight up, right in this position. I like to reel about as high as my face. So I'm right here. Now, what am I going to do from this position? I'm going to put that fish on the reel. You know, you've got thousands of dollars of technology in these things and all the research and design, so use them. And in my book, I go over a simple way to set your drag, and try to set your drag before you get on the river. That's the nature of the beast. So I'm going to hook up on the fish. I'm going to be opposite of the fish. So when the fish zigs, I zag, basically. Let's say I get into a hookup, I come straight up here. Now look at the action of this fly rod. I'm going to point my elbow, my rod elbow, right at that fish, and I've got a nice fluid, smooth action on that fly rod, and I'm against the fish. Now, stage one. The fish is either going to swim away or swim at you, and it'll pick any angle. So your job is to spool up, get all that line spooled up, let go of the fly line, and for heaven's sakes, don't back up. Keep your feet right where you are in the initial set. So it's bang, reel in, keep my feet, and then adjust to what the fish does next. If the fish comes at you, if you can keep up with it with a reel, do it. If it's coming at you too fast and you can't keep up with it, then strip. If the fish takes off in that direction, you can lay your fly rod over in that direction. If it takes off in that direction, you lay your fly rod over in this direction. A lot of people think that you have to stay in this position. This is the death knell right here. This will not work. That fish, it's like the 8th grade dance. Don't be the guy that, as the partner's there dancing, you're standing there just kind of slowly moving back and forth, because you'll definitely lose the fish. So if the fish zigs one direction, you zag. And it's a dance. It's a movement and counter movement. That's the first stage. The second stage involves you starting to get the upper hand on that fish, trying to keep that fish in a 90-degree angle in the river. If the fish is big enough and starts running downstream, then you're going to have to move downstream too, if you can do it safely. If not, you're going to have to stay right there and fight it from right where you are. But you want to try to keep that fish in a 90-degree angle with you as you fight it. That's the second stage. Now, what I like to call machine gun reeling comes in here, because I'm going to start trying to take line. And I don't just constantly crank. We can't just crank like that. The tippets are too small. So what you do is you reel a little bit, and you stop and cover the reel. And that's what I mean by that. You just kind of cover it. You wait to see any kind of damage is done, and then you reel a little more, reel a little more, reel a little more, and try to work that fish in. That's the second stage. And somewhere in that second stage, the fish is probably going to run again. So you've got usually 3 runs in a fight. You get to the third stage. The fish is tiring out. You're moving downstream. You're moving to a place in the stream to find a place to land the fish safely and calmly. So you're trying to find a little softer water. At that point, you're gonna test the fish by trying to lift its head a little bit. If the head comes up, okay, you're probably getting close. When you get close to being able to land that fish, reel in till you have about 1.5 feet of fly line exposed. If you go too far, you get the monofilament in the line, in the guides, and you're going to snap your monofilament. So about 1.5 feet of fly line exposed. You're going to work the fish's head up. I'm going to have my net. My net's going to be here. I'm going to step and lift, and I'm going to go actually two opposite directions, here and here, try to get that fish's head out and slide it across the water to me. That's basically the way to do that. And then obviously follow all the rules about handling fish. You know, wet your hands, make sure your barbs are pinched. You know, really take care of the fish. When you revive a fish, take your time, make sure it kicks off on its own power. If you want to take pictures, do it quickly. But please don't lay them on rocks or grass or sand, because that actually hurts the fish's effective climb. So anyway, a few things about that. What I'm going to try to do is pick up a fish in this little run here. If I don't pick one up, I'll try a half dozen casts real quick. If I don't pick one up, then look for a part 2 on Land and Fish, the Fly Fishers Playbook. You know, another thing is when on that initial hookup, sometimes those fish, that first burst, they'll jump. When a fish jumps, bow to it. You got to bow to the king. There we go. Now notice here, I'm going to reel up, get the fish on the reel. Right there, I let go of the fly line. Fly rod's nice and tall, and I'm keeping angled to this fish. I'm using the length of this fly rod to do my work. See a little machine gun reel burst right there? Getting kind of close. This fish isn't huge. Slide him right across. Bingo. At this point, I'm going to wet my hands, protect the fish. There you go. Nice little South Flat rainbow on a midge pupa. And there he goes. So hopefully this has helped you out. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email address is on my blog. Feel free to take a look at the website. But that's Landing Fish, Fly Fishers Playbook.